I'm Clay Newman. This is the Zoo Review.
Well, we've covered our first couple fur babies, and today we're getting to our first scale baby with the California desert tortoise. While they are still primarily in the wild, this particular episode features a lot of my friend's desert tortoise, Pokey. Pokey's been in his family for about 50 years, but they are still technically something you need to get a permit for as a pet, and considering he is my friend, he's probably not responsible enough to have that permit, so I'm going to leave Pokey's human nameless for this one. Now, these aren't the giant Galapagos tortoises. They're not huge. They're only about a foot long on average, and they usually weigh around 15 pounds. I'm not really sure where to put these guys as far as adorableness. I don't really think they are so ugly that they go full circle and become adorable again. I think they are just genuinely ugly animals. They got no teeth, and they sort of gum their stuff down with the beak. It reminds me of how my grandma used to wake up in the middle of the night, which was 9 p.m. for her, to come and gum down a peanut butter sandwich, horrifying my sister and myself. I'm going to give them a couple adorable points because they are quite silly when it comes to mating rituals. The males will spar to determine who will get a mate, which I'm sure is pretty badass in their time, but in human speed, it is hilarious to watch. The males bob their head up and down to get the attention of females, and when they do finally mate, they are very vocal. Now, I can watch him eat all day and just laugh and laugh, but I don't know if that makes him adorable. In this category, they got a score of 5. Pokey was looking at my toes in a pretty hungry way, but I don't think they're that badass necessarily. That said, they are tough. They are tough enough to survive in the Mojave Desert, where it is regularly over 110 degrees in the summer. They get most of their water from fruits, grass, cacti, whatever vegetables they could find laying around, and they can actually get so much water from them and then go over a year without finding drinking water. The shell is strong, but it is not invincible. Desert foxes and coyotes are clever enough to get in there and get that tortoise. Plus, baby desert tortoises fall prey to just about any kind of animal that's out there. They don't seem to be that scared of most animals. Kangaroo rats, gopher snakes, and owls will actually share the burrows with the desert tortoise. But I'm not sure it's because they're badass. I think it's more because they're too slow to do anything about it. In this category, I can only really give them a score of 8. The California desert tortoise is also known as the gopher tortoise because of how complex its burrows are. Their forearms are basically just shovels at this point. They're cold-blooded, so they know the farther they burrow down during the summer, the cooler they'll be. Plus, during the winter, they barricade the door of their burrow and they bromate. Bromating is essentially the reptile version of hibernation, and I really wish it's what they called the movie I Love You Man. Bromate has much better ring to it. They're smart enough to have multiple burrows and remember where those burrows are. Plus, they even create little ravines to collect water on the rare times that it does rain out there in the desert. These are pretty impressive traits in this category, and I'm going to give him 11 points. These guys are about as close to a dinosaur as you're going to find in the year 2020. They haven't evolved too much in the last 200 million years, and like we already mentioned, they are perfect for surviving in the desert. They've got those shovel arms, they've got the hard exterior, they can survive for months without food, up to a year without water, and when they do have water, they're able to suck up 40% of their body weight and store it in their bladder. That's way the hell better than a camel can do. As far as special skills go, it's worked for 200 million years, so I gotta have something right. They've got a score of 13. There are thought to be about 150,000 of these bad boys left in the wild, and while that may seem like a good chunk compared to some of the animals we've talked about, they are still listed as critically endangered because that number is about 90% lower than it was 20 years ago. New development has become a huge problem for them. Apparently, people are willing to live in the god-awful desert now. They are horribly affected by cattle. The more the cattle eat, the less the turtle has to eat. And douchebags on ATVs are a huge problem out there, destroying their nests and territory. We gotta protect these animals. They're cute little guys. And just don't be a dick about owning one for a pet. They live for up to 100 years, which means if you get one, you gotta keep it for up to 100 years. So maybe just don't. As far as will they make it goes, I think we'll keep them around in one sense or another. It'd be a real bummer to take 200 million years of evolution and just wipe it out because assholes like off-road vehicles. In this category, they got a score of 7. The results are in for the California desert tortoise, and things are looking pretty bad all around for reptiles so far, but it's early. There's only been a couple of them, and honestly, I think we've got a lot in common with the California desert tortoise. If you look at their metabolism alone, they don't reach maturity until they're 20 years old, but they also reach emotional maturity at that time, so in some ways, they're better than us, but not in terms of points. They've only got 44, which is tied for second to last with the giant panda. Well, drop Ibis. Sorry, buddy, you're still the shittiest animal, but I'm sure somebody's going to come and dethrone you at some point. As always, thank you guys for supporting. Thank you to my friend for letting me film his tortoise. Thank you to his tortoise for not eating my little toes while we were feeding him snap peas. You guys have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you for watching the Zoo Review.